Hey guys, Emmanuel here, and before I jump into the video, I just want to ask you guys to hit the subscribe button and leave a like for the algorithm. I'm going to give you guys a chance to do that. Okay, now that's over, guys. The Toronto Raptors are caught between a rock and a hard place, and that place is who should they trade for? Even though it was swept under the rug and it was overshadowed by the Celtics wanting to trade for Kevin Durant, it has been reported that the Raptors are interested in Utah Jazz All-Star guard Donavan Mitchell. The Toronto Raptors are one of a few teams that are bidding for Donavan Mitchell right now. Other teams that are in the bid are the Charlotte Hornets and the New York Knicks. So the question becomes, who should the Raptors go for? Who should they trade for? Kevin Durant or Donavan Mitchell? And I guess Boston wanting to trade for Kevin Durant now complicates things for the Toronto Raptors, because the Toronto Raptors were in talks for Kevin Durant. I guess that's why the Toronto Raptors shifted their attention to Donavan Mitchell. So who would be better for the Raptors overall? A young star like Donavan Mitchell or a old superstar like Kevin Durant, who is in the back nine of his prime years? And that there is the key difference. One is old and the other isn't. But on the other hand, the older one is far more talented, gives you a greater chance of winning a championship, but you can only get him for a short period of time. While on the other hand, the younger guy, Donavan Mitchell, is less talented, isn't going to give you a better chance of winning a championship, but he's going to give you longevity. He can at least give you 6 or 5 years of being in his prime if you are able to retain him. That's not the case with Kevin Durant. So which trade-off are you willing to make as the Raptors? So would you rather have longevity, or would you have peak performance and peak chances of winning a championship? In my opinion, to me, the Raptors should opt to trade for Kevin Durant still. And I have a number of reasons as to why they should do this. And the number one reason why I think they should do this is, number one, Donavan Mitchell just doesn't fit the profile of the type of player that the Raptors are looking for currently, right? And for the last 2 years, it has been public knowledge the kind of team that Masai Ujiri wants to build in Toronto. And that team consists of long, tall, athletic players who are either 6'9" and above and long wingspans that can guard the perimeter, can handle the ball, and aren't too much of a defensive liability if they're caught in the paint. And that is the type of player that the Toronto Raptors are looking for. A prime example of this is, of course, Pascal Siakam fits that profile perfectly, but a prime example of that is Scottie Barnes. Scottie Barnes, I thought, was at the time that he was drafted, I thought he was a weird pick for the Toronto Raptors, because I thought clearly they should draft Jalen Suggs. Jalen Suggs didn't fit that profile, and so they opted to go for Scottie Barnes. And it's just kind of the same thing here with Donavan Mitchell and Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant is longer, taller, can block shots in the paint, can guard the perimeter. Donavan Mitchell can't. Right? Donavan Mitchell can only probably play defense on a perimeter. And so Kevin Durant just is better of a fit for the type of player that Masai Ujiri is looking for to build this team. And so in my opinion, that just fits better. It doesn't complicate anything with current plans. You know, it fits better. And the number two reason why I think Kevin Durant should be picked over Donavan Mitchell is, believe it or not, Donavan Mitchell would actually be more expensive to get for the Toronto Raptors than Kevin Durant. Yeah, that's weird, just mind-boggling, right? I mean, in what world would Kevin Durant not be more expensive than Donavan Mitchell? But it's true, Danny Ainge and the Utah Jazz want a haul for Donavan Mitchell. Like, I mean a haul. It's ridiculous, the things that they've been asking for. So, like I mentioned how the Knicks and the Hornets were also in talks to get Donavan Mitchell. Well, the Knicks tried to get Donavan Mitchell, and this is what the Utah Jazz asked in return. It's absurd. The Utah Jazz asked for 6 first-round picks. 6. That's absurd to begin with, right? And in addition to that, they asked for Quentin Grimes, Emmanuel Quickley, Obi Toppin, and Miles McBride. Now, you don't have to be an expert GM to know that's a ridiculous ask. No self-righteous, self-respecting GM would pull the trigger on a deal like that. That's crazy, but I'm not surprised, because Danny Ainge is known to be a very hard bargain. He used to be the GM for the Boston Celtics, and he gutted the Brooklyn Nets when he traded an aged Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett to the Brooklyn Nets for all of their picks. So I'm not surprised that he wants that many amounts of picks. And I think that the Toronto Raptors just don't have the assets to do that, right? And they're just, you shouldn't make that trade. While on the other hand, it's cheaper to get Kevin Durant because the Brooklyn Nets are asking for 2 first-round picks and an all-star caliber player. That's not hard to give up. And I've stated on this channel what the Toronto Raptors should give up for Kevin Durant. They should give up 2 first-round picks. If they can, try and pull off 1 first-round pick, 1 second-round pick, and Pascal Siakam for Kevin Durant. And I think that deal would still put Toronto in a position in which they weren't too gutted and could surround Kevin Durant with good enough players to the point where they could actually compete for a championship. So I think the Toronto Raptors going for Kevin Durant still makes more sense than trying to get Donovan Mitchell. Not just because Kevin Durant would give you the best chances of going to the finals than Donovan Mitchell. So that is a clear choice. Kevin Durant over Donovan Mitchell. Kevin is more talented and he's easier and cheaper to trade for. And also another thing is I think the Toronto Raptors could outbid the Boston Celtics because I don't really think the Boston Celtics need Kevin Durant. So they're not going to go as hard for Kevin Durant. I mean, they just swept Kevin Durant, right? And they're not going to give up, Jason Tatum for Kevin Durant. I wouldn't. So I think that Toronto Raptors could outbid them. And another thing that's working in a Toronto Raptors favor here is the fact that I don't know if Kevin Durant's going to want to go to Boston, right? Because it would be like 2016 all over again, where he joined the very team that knocked him out of the playoffs. So it just doesn't look good, and people, the NBA world, would just not look at Kevin Durant the same. I mean, they don't look at him the same anyways, but it just doesn't look good that you go to the guys that whooped your butt. Essentially, you said, if you can't beat them, join them not once, but 2 times. And just not good for your legacy. So I think the Toronto Raptors there have that slight advantage. But yes, those are my thoughts. I think the Toronto Raptors should go for Kevin Durant over Donovan Mitchell. But guys, those are just my thoughts. If you like this kind of video, if you like this kind of content in general, this is a channel for you. So make sure to hit the subscribe button, leave a like, and drop your thoughts in the comments below. And until next time, kids.
Just about the talks around Kevin Durant, where do things stand with that? What are you hoping to get? Have you reached out? Where is that?
Honestly, I don't talk about those things as they happen, we're incredibly excited about our team. I'm on my way. Is this a long route to Summer League, to Vegas? I'm on my way to Vegas tonight. I'm so excited to see all our players who will be there, and our young players who will be playing in the Summer League. I know one thing: we're going to win in Toronto, and we're going to continue to grow. I'm super confident about that. So, yeah, I know with all the talks, we're incredibly happy with where our team is and how we continue to grow.
Aside from the Kevin Durant situation, what do you want to do in the off season? What changes or things you want to work on as a team?
Well, we signed a couple players, and we signed our own free agents back with Thad Young and Chris Boucher, and we signed Otto Porter, and we'll keep looking out there, see how we can make our team better. But our internal growth is what's most important to us. When we came to Toronto, we talked about internal development and how we're going to develop our players. And I think, with the growth of all these young players, I think we're happy with that and we'll keep growing.